Hey, Chisholm's Trail YouTube channel here, doing a little cleanup and edge maintenance today on my William Collins Raider, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents on honing versus sharpening. So, the William Collins Raider is 01. It's got a Scandi grind on it. His knives are excellent. His 01 is excellent. Highly recommend William and WC knives. Anyway, um, basically I cleaned this thing up and I just want to bring the edge back. Been using it a fair amount and it's still sharp, but what I like to do instead of sharpening all the time is basically I like to use honing steels. And what I use 90% of the time are these two. I use a Victorinox mini sharpening steel. These are just a little butcher steel. They're like $8 on Amazon and they're great. I also use this Gossman, the full-size Gossman GST from Gossman Knives. I think Scott does these in D2. They're excellent. They're like 40 or 60 bucks. I can't remember, whatever it is, they're worth it. But these two items right here are what I use about 90% of the time for edge maintenance on my knives, and they're wonderful. So you don't always have to use a diamond rod or a whetstone if you just maintain your knife's edge. Honing steels are great. So for the Scandi grinds, you can use the little rod. I just pinch it between my fingers, and basically you lay your knife on there and you find that Scandi grind where it's laying flat, and you just draw it down. And basically the honing steels don't remove any material like a diamond rod. All they really do is realign the carbides that get bent over with use, and they bring that edge back without taking any material off your blade. Anytime you're removing material, technically you're expending a resource, and honing steels are a great way to maintain your tools without doing that. So that's how I use the mini rod. For the Scandi grinds, I find the GST to be a little better because it has a bigger, flatter surface. So again, you're just going to find that, lay your knife on there and find that Scandi edge and just drag it along there and realign those carbides, and you'll feel it. It's like a big old flat butcher steel. And I do this, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 times. I just got finished doing this one, and you know we're back to pretty darn sharp. Definitely sharp enough for me. I kind of like a rough edge on my knives anyway. But another point I wanted to get while I was talking about this stuff is for the tracker or WSK style knives. I use a lot of these. I think these are great designs. This particular one is made by Plainsman Knives, but Chris over at Plainsman Knives, great guy, great company, makes great stuff. This one is in CPM 3V, so it's a really hard one, of the what they call the super steels, I guess. But these little rods are great for even this stuff. You can get into that quarter round, that trouble spot here on the trackers with these little rods. They're excellent. And I carry one of these on most of my knife sheaths. They're in my kits, like I said. There's always one of these around. And they work excellent. They work excellent for the WSK stuff, for getting in that little trouble spot. But basically, even with the really hard steels, they work really good. And you can see we're cutting 3V. So, something to keep in mind. The Gossman tool, if you wanted to use that, you can also use that. What he did is they're flat, and one side has a 90-degree side on it. The other side is round, like a butcher steel would be. So you can still get in there to that trouble spot on the WSK, nice and round, and it curves with it, and it works excellent. Just get on in there, realign those carbides. It's a great way of maintaining your edge, as long as you keep up on it. If your edge gets really dull, a lot of people like whetstones. I'm not the biggest fan. They work great. I just don't use them myself a lot. My two most used tools, again, a rod. This is the Easy Lap. I think it's the Sportsman, and it's a diamond rod. These are excellent. Always have one of these in a kit or a pack near me. If you're beyond honing, that's a great way to go. Also, the Falcon Even DC4. Use the diamond side. I don't really use the stone side too much, but if the edge is really bad, one of these, and then I finish off with one of these honing stones, awesome. A lot of times it's just one of these. So that's it. Just my 2 cents on, yeah, just my 2 cents on honing versus sharpening your knives. So hope somebody finds that helpful. Thanks.